government that has been in news. No thanks to the question about, having a gentleman arrangement whereby power has to rotate between some clans or some villages. So for Njikoka, we understood that there was this agreement between Umure clan and Umowole, that power has to rotate between two of them. And they are saying that the sitting mayor is from Umowole, and it's now time for Umure to take, their slot. But he wants to go for another term. And since then, it's been, could I say, fight to finish in politics, whereby, you try to scheme the other to ensure that you get what you think should belong to you. So let's even start from this very mock primary that happened. So, Tony, if you have the information, what actually happened, how can it be explained to an ordinary man who understands what actually happened within the Abga circles yesterday?
Well, we saw the mock primaries yesterday across different local governments, and just like you asked, the essence of the mock primary was to build consensus. It's usually called the stakeholder selection. Building consensus. The idea is to mitigate frictions that could emanate at the primaries itself. So we've seen that worked before now. We've seen how it was deployed. If you look around during the by-elections, I've got deployed such practice in another form, in a variant form. That's how we saw the likes of Senator Nwachukwu emerging from that very conclave. You can call it electoral college. We saw the member representing Onitsha North 1 state constituency, Mimi Azikiwe, also emerging from such conclave. And if you look around, the whole thing or the whole goal was to ensure that nobody feel discontrolled at the end of the primaries, because there are those that will tell you that they were disenfranchised or the delegate lists were manipulated, that these people had enthroned or entrenched these people to give whatever impression they want to give. And we looked at that very methods deployed by ABGA. Those who were aspirants to that very post, they all supported the eventual winner. So probably they want to build on that. Now coming to the mayoral mock primary that we saw yesterday across different local governments. Just like I said earlier on, it is stakeholder selection or consensus building process. We've seen some local governments where aspirants are up to 10, 11, 12 for chairmanship position, because we are not looking at the councillorship positions. We know very well there will be world congresses that will determine the candidate for the councilorships. But we are looking at the chairmanships. We have 21 local governments in Anambra State. And many of the incumbents, I guess all of them are gearing to come back. Many of them. And there are some local governments where there is zoning arrangements or selection process. We have seen these local governments coming out to lay their voices over what they perceive to be injustice. Because some of these incumbents who are coming out in some local governments, according to those who are making the story, they feel that they are violating the zoning arrangement. Newi North is cited. We also have Njikoka local government site and the other local governments as well. So the mock primary that happened yesterday was to prune down the number of aspirants to at least 3. Where you have many aspirants, but where you don't have many aspirants, the mock primary may not be necessary. But where there are many aspirants, so the mock primary becomes necessary to prune down the number to 3. Where the incumbents are excluded from the mock primary because they have automatic qualification for the eventual primaries. So those who emerged from the mock primaries, the people, those who came first, second, third, will now join the mayor in the real context, in the real primaries. And that primary determines who becomes the candidate of the party for August 29 local government elections in Anambra State. So far, where we saw these mock primaries happen, peaceful. We saw those who were true being happy, and we have also seen those who couldn't make it themselves also accepting those who made it. The idea is to ensure there is no rancor, there is no animosity, there is no form of bitterness that would come as a result of the primaries that the party will be having, because the election is on August 29th. So I think that was exactly what happened yesterday. And of course, you mentioned the incident or what is going on in Njikoka local government as one of the local governments cited. And we know very well, of course, I listened to some articles written by some people where they maintain the same position you are maintaining. There is a zoning arrangement between Umuowele and the Umumri clan. And that very local government in Njikoka has about 6 towns. And we are told that under Umuowele clan, you have the likes of Nemo, where the incumbent Ononeba is from. You also have Abagana as one of the towns from Umuowele. So you also look around, and then they believe that it is now time for Umumri clan to come into the picture. That Umuowele have had their turn. And it is now time for Umumri clan, and then under Umumri clan, you have Enugu Agede, you have Enugu Uku, and one other town. So
I think Northia.
Northia, yes. So these are the towns under Umumri clan. They are saying that it is their turn. That the man who is occupying the position was there as caretaker committee chairman for 3 months before he came back as the local government chairman, and he has served out his time, or his time will be expiring in August. So he has taken his own time. The same thing that is going on in Nnewi, where Nnewi believes it is their turn. And then, and if you look around, they are making these arguments. And somebody is saying, who defines the term? We know that once this side finishes, it's going to be, but the issue is, did they define it's going to be 1 single term or 2-year term or 4-year term? It has been the issue. Even those who are saying that the incumbents that are coming back, they are saying that they have not served out their term. Some are saying that the whole arrangement or zoning arrangement is configured in such a way that it is 4-year term, not 2-year term. So somebody who has served out 2 years means that it is remaining 2 more years for him to serve out the term before the zoning arrangement also takes its own course. But the issue is that many of them are saying we are not disobeying the zoning arrangement. All we are saying is that we have not served out a term. That the zoning arrangement stipulates 4-year term, not 2-year term. I think that's the issue. So in that zoning arrangement, some of these local governments had, did they disclose the term? Is it 2-year term or 4-year term? Was it disclosed? If it is disclosed, can evidence be provided? And if it is provided and it is disclosed, the zoning arrangement must be obeyed.
Okay, because at this point in time, since this has become the case of some local government, because this time around we're talking about local government election, and we're having all these dissension and the disagreement. So if that is the case, maybe some other communities or some other local government areas, or even the ones that are having this problem, they can get back to drawing table, sit down, see where the unclarity is, and see how they can make things clear, so that in subsequent election, of course, they will be able to get against this kind of dissension, argument, and what have you not that have been imagined from different quarters. Now, still on that very same mock primary. So Tony, what happened yesterday was a mock primary election, and there's already an allegation of delegates being bought over with as much as 250,000 naira in a mock primary. So when it gets to the proper primary, what is going to happen?
Well, the mock primary, remember, is one of the processes put out by the party, by ABGA, to ensure rancor-free primary. It's not the main primary. The mock primary, we understand, is not the main primary. And you are asking if there was exchange of money as alleged, what would then happen by the time we get to the main primaries? Well, just like I said earlier on, that mock primary, according to ABGA, for them, they say, is consensus building, stakeholders selection. That stakeholders from that very local government, those who are members of the party, who have worked for the party, who have been for the party, they are the ones who are going to make decision. But if they decided to be bought over by themselves, because for me, it is their business. Because by the time primary comes up, the party will send out the delegate list. So the party, the local government at that level, they were the one that brought out those who were going to participate and then do what they are supposed to do. So I'm not going to say whether it happened or not happened. It's just a family thing. And just like if it comes to your family, you decide that you buy mama, you buy papa, or you buy whoever you want to buy to have your way. But there were places where I got a report that there was an attempt by some influential money bags to influence the system or to influence the process, but it did not work. Like Njikoka, you mentioned, that there were money bags who had wanted to push such narrative. But remember, that mock primaries will produce about 3 persons. The first person, the second person, and the third person. And by the time they go for the real primary, they all contest on a level playing ground. So what's the sense of trying to bring in money when you know that the primary will produce 1, 2, 3 persons, and those persons are not the outright winner? They will still go for eventual primaries. So it makes no sense.
If you also go to Nnewi North, one of the aspirants, Cornel Osigwe, he was already alleging that there was no transparency in that stakeholders mock primary that was conducted over there and what have you not. Then there's another thing I also want us to understand, on the arrangement that ABGA has. Can you offer clarity on this, if that is the true situation, that the arrangements the party has is that those who are aspiring for this mayoral position, that each of them, of course, has to purchase the form to express their interest, which is at 1 million naira. So by the time you have scaled through the mock primary, that's when you can now go to purchase the form at 5 million. Is that the true situation?
That's the situation of things, because we know very well that the expression of interest form is 1 million, and then the form itself is 5 million, so making it a total of 6 million. But you can't just collect such amount of money randomly, because somebody will feel aggrieved. I can't buy such form at such amount only to be screened or removed during mock primaries. There are those that will challenge it, and I bet you the last we had such consensus or electoral college system, the party gave money back to those who had purchased even the expression of interest form.
So we can say that what is happening now with local government mock primary is like a lesson from that by-election.
That is just,
conclave.
I told you that it was a build-up, because that conclave produced candidates that other aspirants worked for. They all came together to work for those candidates that came through the electoral college system during the by-election. So the party, from the report I had, have plans to refund anybody who did not make it as candidate. From the report I have. So, like he did during the time of by-election, they refunded those who did not make it as candidates. So I also have heard such report, but it's not for me to say. I've heard such report, so it's unconfirmed report, very unconfirmed report, that there could be situation where the party will refund those who did not make it as candidate. They refund them every penny spent. Either the one spent purchasing expression of interest, and even the one spent buying the nomination form. So in any case, for me, it is a good development in the sense that there are those who would spend such amount of money, and if they end up being removed at mock primaries, they will say, what's the sense of buying nomination form at 5 million only for me to be removed at the mock primary? So you can only be nominated if you have made it to the final primaries, where you may have bought the nomination form of 5 million. So the other one is expression of interest form. Just like I said, there are reports, though unconfirmed, that those who participated, whatever amount they spent, may be refunded to them if they do not make it up as what? Candidates.
Now, it seems like many people showed interest in these chairmanship positions, given by the number that we saw. I saw somewhere that about 154 persons or aspirants, purchase this very form for them to vie for the chairmanship position during this very mock primary. So that means the person could have bid up about 154 million thereabout. But it seems like this preparation is only being seen within the structures of the ruling party ABCA. APC, we have not heard about anything. ADC, Labour Party, PDP. So is it a sitting party thing in Anambra State?
Well, we know very well that there is a local government administration law, and also there is a law that establishes the Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission, ANSEC, Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission. So we know all these things are by the provisions of the law of the state. So it is not a one-party thing. But you know very well that other parties, they have seen situations in Nigeria where the ruling party takes away everything. And if you look around, we saw the one that happened about last 2 years, the local government elections that happened last 2 years. Many things were alleged. But the truth remains that other political parties seem not to be serious with this election. They are in this hurry. None of them is talking about the election. But close to the election, they may surprise their number with some candidates. And if those candidates fail to win, they will allege that they were rigged out. So one thing about election is preparation begins so early. We know very well that in Nigerian system, that states, the ruling parties in those states, they usually take everything because you don't have an independent body other than the ones appointed by the governors. Like if you look at the ANSEC, the chairman of the very commission, the electoral commission, is appointed by the governor in every state. It's just the law across every state. Situations we've seen over time. Majority of these elections, in fact, most elections, local government elections, we've seen the ruling party in that very state taking over everything. But here in Anambra State as well, we have not seen other parties doing anything that will make anybody to say, oh, it was rigged or it was not rigged. But they are not doing anything as we speak, even when anybody may think that it is going to go the other way. But do something first.
So this ruling party taking everything when it comes to local government election, is it about rigging the election or the ruling party using its structure to outmuscle the other or to win at the polls?
Before now, I was thinking it's all about either rigging the election or writing results, but I have looked over time and see that most of these parties, they have structures. And it becomes difficult to defeat them. And one thing about is, elections are not won on social media. I have said it many times. Election is won at the polling unit, not on social media. I've looked around. If you go to APC Enugu State now, because it's the ruling party in Enugu State. Before they were in PDP. If election is conducted there, APC will win local government election in that very state. Reason being that they have grassroots structures which the governors, or the governor in this case, because we're talking about the Enugu State, has engineered. In Anambra State, ABGA is Anambra State and Anambra is ABGA. It will be very difficult, especially local government elections, or even in this, the one INEC conducted for state assembly elections. ABGA won 90%. See, if you are saying that they did not, or there was rigging in the local government, what about the ones INEC conducted? We saw the by-elections. Some will say, oh, money was used. In fact, remains that there was a level playing field. We know very well that it has been established that every party did what the other party did. But the case now is who outdone the other. So it aside that everything being equal, remove that, the ABGA will still win. Because the idea is they have taken Anambra State. In fact, it's more like a movement. It's more like a religion in Anambra State. That's what it's like. Go to my village now. In my hometown of Sumo, even the old mama, old papa, they will ask you, that's what they will tell you. So it has come into their DNA. That is just that. But then if you come to other states like Enugu, if you come to Abia State now, because there was a local government election, Labour Party won everything in Abia State. Yeah. And it's expected.
The one they use Zenith, Labour Party to win.
They use Zenith Labour Party. That's the party even when they were in trouble. And the question is, who knows Zenith Labour Party? Zenith Labour Party was unknown. But what the governor did was to challenge and also swap the mobilization from Labour Party to Zenith Labour Party. And they won every local government in Abia State using their grassroots support and structure system. Because they have the population, they have the numbers, they have those who are going to do the work at the polling unit. They mobilize people from their houses, mobilize people from their communities, mobilize people even at the polling unit to vote for Zenith Labour Party. How can they do all this work? At the end of the day, you say it was rigged.
Okay. All right. So we have to switch gears now because yesterday at the Senate, should I say to some extent, they bowed to pressure from Nigerians and approved what could be called electronic and transmission of election result to the INEC IREV. But they also added the proviso, which we are going to talk about after this very commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Mama, you done make me fall in love.
Love is in the air, and Stanel Group is bringing it to you live this Valentine's Day.
Stanel Group got you covered for your unforgettable Val Day filled with romance, fun, and excitement.
Join us on Saturday, 14th February 2026, Forever Love Night at Stanel Operator Rest Lounge. Reservation only.
Table for 2 at 100,000 naira for 3-course meal with a glass of wine.
Table for 4 at 180,000 naira for 3-course meal with a glass of wine.
There will be side attractions such as jazz music, live band, saxophonist night, Valentine themed background.
On Sunday, 15th February 2026, for Igbo cultural music and spoken words of love.
Stanel Fast Food, where you get couples delight and Valentine's perfect combo. Also, Stanel Supermart, where you get his and she's special gift.
Come with your partner, your friends, or even come solo. Love is better when shared. Come and be part of this most epic love celebration in Oka. For inquiry or reservation, visit Stanel World Agoka or call 0814 565 6920. Repeat 0814 565 6920.
You don't make me fall in love. You don't make me fall in love.
A city of movement. A city of trade. A city of heritage. From the rays of the sun to the radiant glow of the river Niger. From the echoes of Ose Market to the silent prayers rising from the basilica. This city beats like a drum, loud, proud, and unyielding. And the drum finds its rhythm right here on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Adobe no go, nene no de daño na mo kenelo.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's now 9:58 a.m. and you are listening to The Polity. My name is Franklin Ebukan and we've been looking at developments. Of course, we just finished conversation on the upcoming local government election in Anambra State. They have the ruling party in the state, ABGA, has been preparing. Yesterday was a mock primary where three aspirants emerged from different local government areas, and these three aspirants are going to join the mayors of each local government area in the main primary election that is going to hold later in future. So let's move over to what happened yesterday at the floor of the Senate, because Senate convened an emergency session and it held yesterday. During that very session, there was a reconsideration of what the Senate passed initially in respect to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill of 2026. In fact, from what was passed yesterday, we can see the Senate approved the electronic transmission of election results to INEC IREV, but there was a caveat where the Senate permitted manual collation to serve as a backup where technology fails. Now, we're going to listen to Senate President. After him, then Attorney is going to come in with the conversation so that we can get the proper idea of what actually was passed yesterday at the floor of the Senate. Stay with us.
His earlier motion, which passed in our last sitting, he has sought to rescind that, that is in respect of Section 60, subsection 3. And this is what he's proposing: that the presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the IRF portal, and such transmission shall be done after the prescribed form EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling units, provided that if the electronic transmission of the result fails, if it fails as a result of communication failure and it becomes impossible to transmit the result electronically in form EC8A signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling units, the form EC8A shall in such a case be the primary source of collation and declaration of results. Those in support of the motion say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. Nay. The ayes have it.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Certainly, so you listen to how it happened yesterday on the floor of the Senate when Senate reconsidered what it passed in the Electoral Act Amendment, and this time around, plenty English was involved. So maybe you can help us to simplify before we get into the nitty-gritty of issues involved in this very version passed by the Senate.
Well, we saw the drama yesterday. Many Nigerians followed the Senate proceedings yesterday. In fact, there were those who were at the gate protesting. We saw different protestations by different groups. We saw the likes of Chibike Rotimi Amechi, who was there as well. He brought his son, a medical doctor, as he told us. And he told us his role would be to treat anybody who gets injured in the process. So in all of this, we saw drama from different quarters. Nigeria became the drama headquarters of the world as of yesterday. And everyone was anxious, everyone was waiting, everyone was optimistic. Then there are those who were pessimistic as well, hoping to see what will be the outcome of the day. Yes, the pressure was on, and we saw the proceeding. Everything started by 12 noon, as we earlier told you. And we also explained before the yesterday proceedings of the Senate that it was more like to adopt their votes and proceedings of February 4th, which would also pave way for the conference. As they were about to do that, we saw a senator from Borno State, the Senate Chief Whip, Mungunu, who raised I think he brought a point of order. And when he brought that, and also followed by a motion, that Nigerians have been reacting over their passage of the Electoral Amendment and Reenactment Bill 2026 on the issue of electronic transmission, which was conspicuously omitted. He brought the attention of the Senate that they cannot just overlook the concerns of many Nigerians, whom they represent, because the concerns of the many Nigerians are those they are representing, and then go on to do whatever they want to do. So let's not talk about how their procedure went about yesterday. Let's go straight to the meat of the matter. So it was an avenue for them to reconsider and also revisit what happened on the 4th of February, Wednesday, and we saw likes of Engineer Baribe calling for a division, relying on a particular order of the Senate. And he was allowed. In fact, he was seconded by another person. But when the Senate President actually wanted to call for a division, he came up again and said he has withdrawn that motion. And when he was asked to bring a seconder, he brought no seconder, but the Senate President was reminded that it wasn't a motion, it was an order. So an order does not need a seconder. It is a case of a motion. If it is a motion moved, it will be seconded by somebody. But if it is a point of order, if it's an order, it doesn't need a seconder. So these were the different angles to this drama. Now, the Senate was looking for an escape. Ababio and his cohorts, they were looking for an escape route from the wrath of Nigerians. Many Nigerians, of course, have gone to social media, lambasted them, did all manner of tongue lash. So they were looking for escape route. So they looked at a common ground, but they still retained the manual version in a way that it is subtle. There's no doubt, because they say now it shall be transmitted electronically. But where network fails, if you are to go by their language, where there is communication failure, because if you listen to Ababio in that audio you played, any form of communication failure or network error, the manual collation becomes the primary source of collation. And he said those who are in favor say aye, and those who are against say no. And then the ayes have it. So what they did was to rephrase Section 60, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2026. They constituted their own 12-member panel that will meet with the House of Representatives for concurrence. Remember the House version. The House version is very explicit. And if I can go by the provision of the House of Representatives version, which is in total contrast with the Senate version. So the House, of course, allows or provides for electronic transmission real time, some of the languages Nigerians would also want to hear. So the presiding officer, I'm just trying to read that of the House version verbatim. The presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the IREF portal in real time, and such transmission shall be done simultaneously with the physical collation of results. Such transmission shall be done simultaneously with the physical collection of results. So, in this case, it means that the presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the IREF portal in real time, and such transmission shall be done after the prescribed form EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents available at the polling unit. So that's the House version.
And that is what Nigerians want.
That's what Nigerians want.
Likewise, CSOs.
But yes, but I'll come back to that.
All right.
Let's go to the Senate version, which is generating all these rumpuses as we've seen. So the Senate version provided, okay, the presiding officer shall electronically transmit results as we have seen. Then there is another proviso, provided that if the electronic transmission of result fails as a result of communication failure, the form EC8A shall in such a case be the primary source of collation and declaration of results. So that is the contradiction. Now, there are those who are still not okay with this proviso, because you don't give room for illegality. You don't give space for illegality. Block every space that will bring illegality. Block it completely. And let me say this. I've listened to different contributors to these issues, but many of them are making mistakes at one point or the other. Some are not IT experts. Some are not into information technology. Some are not versed with computer network communications or network communications, as the case may be, or computer security protocols. Many of them are not versed with it. So everybody comes out to say whatever he thinks. It's not just that. The clear thing is the fact that, yes, there is no room for network failure. People don't even understand how BVAS is configured. That is the key thing. Many of them making this law, do they even understand the work of BVAS, how BVAS is configured? And if you look at the electoral committee of the Senate, they met with INEC. INEC explained to them how these things work. How BVAS is configured. And that is why they came up with electronic transmission in real time in the first instance, which the Senate did not buy. Because BVAS is electronic device. It is smart. Very smart. And I've said it many times. BVAS does quite a lot of things. Now, let me say this. There will never be a time network will fail and BVAS will be redundant. If BVAS has no network, do you know what it does? It queue up whatever file in its transit mode. So the idea of where network fails, there are times there may be no network. What BVAS does is that once it gets network, it transmits it even without you knowing. Once, let's assume, because the action is the presiding officer uploads the results. Once he has uploaded that result, he has commenced transmission. Capturing of results, accreditation, these things are offline. It doesn't need network. For accreditation to happen, like you want to accredit someone, I listened to Kenneth Okonkwo, I was telling you this morning. Kenneth Okonkwo was saying, if we can do accreditation without network problem, how can we now not do transmission with network problem? He fails to understand that accreditation does not need network. It is configured in that BVAS. It is an offline process. Offline means no network needed. They don't understand this. But transmission is an online thing. It must.
But Tony, for us to also probe this in further,
Okay.
because sometimes when you get to some polling unit, they'll tell you that they're having difficulty in doing verification.
Okay.
Trying to authenticate if people who have come with PVCs are the actual owner.
All right.
They will tell you that they have network challenge. That's why they are not able to verify these very people.
I think, let me say this. When we were using card readers, we have those who have defaced fingers and those who their fingerprint cannot capture. If you see a fingerprint scanner, it can scan, but it may not send to network. Situations whereby these things have been stored in that device already. It's just you are giving the device a query, verify if the fingerprint is in your memory. Simple. It is already in that BVAS. That is why when we are having problem with issue of card reader, what was introduced, forget what the presiding officers, most of them do say. They will tell you we don't have network. It doesn't need a network. Many of the presiding officers, they don't even understand how these things work. It does not need network. That is why it is bimodal. Bimodal in the sense that it can use fingerprint, it can use your face. So there are times people have issues with their fingers. Either their fingers could be clogged with oil, it could be clogged with dust, and at times it could not sell through. Face becomes the next alternative. So that's why it's called bimodal. It can go this way, it can go that way. But I have also put out this. It does not need network accreditation. If a PO tells you we don't have network because I'm having problems, the PO doesn't know what he's saying. Accreditation does not need network. It's an offline process. It is what is stored in the system that you are trying to tell the system, verify if what you have in your memories is also, is this person the right person? Just like I'm seeing some padlock now. Some of these padlock come with finger sensor and a fingerprint sensor. Just you put your finger, the padlock will open. I saw one. It doesn't need network because the fingerprint has been coded inside a padlock. So once you query, or let me not use technical languages, once you put in your fingerprint, it matches with the one inside it and it opens. So the fingerprint or the face you are bringing matches with the one it have inside. It does not need network. That is one. Then secondly, issue of transmission is an online thing. But situation where there is network issue, uploading of scan election result definitely is also an offline thing. If you are to upload it inside the BIF, it's an offline thing. But transmitting it to a portal or a server, it becomes an online thing. There will be a network for it to move from its internal memory space to a server. So it becomes an online thing. But situation where there is network disruption, do you know what it does? It adds it up in the queuing system, transmission queue. It queues it up there. And whenever it receives network signal, it does transmit it without you knowing. You that have also uploaded it and then attempt to transmit it, it will be delayed in its own buffer. That is what I call buffer. So CNET made a mistake yesterday. What's the mistake they made? Where there is network failure. Are you trying to say that network will fall in Nigeria? That is, network will be switched off in Nigeria? Because there are polling units where there may be no network. Assuming, let's accept it. But once you move to a local government, because the BFAS will be transported to the local government. The moment they are getting close to the local government, these things are uploading themselves without even the person carrying it knowing. Because the person has initiated the process. Why the person is moving, the thing would. So, where Senate made a mistake is that they do not understand that BFAS does auto retrial, auto transmission once you have uploaded, and uploading is an offline thing. Uploading of scan election result is an offline. You don't need a network to do that, but you need a network to transmit it to a server or a portal. And at that point, you may not call it back. The only person that can call it back is INEC through their end back or their back end server or their back end mechanism. So they shouldn't have added this provision if they understand how BVAS work. That's explained. And secondly, there is one thing I like about this, their new provision. Many people have not seen that. So ask me, what is that? They made it very, very clear that the electronic one becomes the primary collection method. But the House did not add it up. Yesterday I said it here. Some people did not even understand me. I said, which one comes first? Which one takes situation about why the House did not add it is understandable, because they did not give room for anything manual. So in their own sense, in their own case, anything that goes up there is what will be collected. No manual collection. I think if you look at House version, if you interpret it very well, that is why they may not add that this is our primary source of collation. But in Nigeria, because if you go to court, there are technical jingoism, somersaults. I want every A to be put, every B to be put. Because after saying that it shall be electronically transmitted to the central server, what happens? And it shall be the only source of collection. I needed that in the one rendered by the House. I needed it. I want it to be clear.
No, because they said the form EC8A shall, in such a case, become the primary source of collation and the declaration of result.
Is it in the one of the House?
No, the one the Senate.
Yes, very clear there.
Now, and because the question some people have been asking is, which I'm going to prompt now, because they are asking question about when there is a discrepancy between the figures on the IREV and then the figures on the form ECA. So what happens? Which one is the law going to address or going to recognize?
I asked this question yesterday. That is the ambiguity of the one the House passed. Many people are not seeing it. But I said it yesterday. The House did not tell us what happens to Form CE8A. So signed. What happens to anybody can say that the law is silent over what it could be used for. And if the law is silent, I can as well use it for. That the law did not say we cannot use it. I don't even understand me. I've been to some court processes where people will tell you that the law or the act or the law is silent on this. It did not tell us what becomes of it. And if I do use it for my collection, the law did not say I should not use it. And for the fact it did not say I should not, it only says that I should upload, electronically transmit. That's what the law says, right? But the law did not tell us after electronically transmitting it, can it also be used for collation? See, people should be concerned about.
So at this point, is there anything we can do to cure the lapses? Because, like I mentioned, that if you look at what the Senate passed, they said the Form EC8A shall, in such a case, be the primary source of collation and declaration of result. That is, if the electronic transmission fails. And in the version that was passed by the House of Reps, there was nothing like this. And if you look at what Senate did in the real sense of it, if you look at it critically, you see that what Senate did is to give a preference whereby manual results on the paper can override those ones transmitted electronically on IREV. And people are saying this could weaken transparency and open the door for, manipulation. Yes.
Look at the problem I have with what the Senate did. I have a problem with what the House passed and what the Senate passed. The only problem I have with the Senate is they should remove where communication or network failure. You understand me? They should remove that. And return all their weddings. And it shall be the primary source of collation and declaration of what? Result. Very important. That's the most important statement. Primary source of collation and declaration of result, the electronically transmitted version. But they just added another one I don't like, where it fails. It is not going to fail.
At the level of harmonization, which we know that committee has been set up, it was increased from, I think, rather from 6 to 9.
From 9 to 12 now.
Yes, from 9 to 12. Yes. So at this point now, they are going to go into this very stage. And from what the president said, he said that they should do this quickly, because he is expecting that the president will be able to, should be able to sign this into law this very month. Maybe. Okay, let's get to hear this. Let's hear this so that after that we can now finish this very analysis and move over to other things. Let's hear from Babio himself so that you get to hear what he said in respect to this.
After consultation with the leadership, we have moved the number from 9 to 12. Senator Lalong Simon Bako is the chairman. The conference committee, when you meet, you know that this is a matter of urgency. I believe that if you're able to conclude within the next few days or 1 week, the president should be able to sign this amended electoral bill into an act of parliament within this month of February.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Certainly, I was asking at this stage now, what can possibly be done for us to get the maximum benefit from this very amendment? Because we can't amend today, and tomorrow again we are going back to amendment.
Just like you asked me, the Senate, the only thing they need to remove is where it fails, my dear. Just like I said earlier on, snapping, uploading is offline thing. Then the network, you wouldn't tell me that network will fail us for 1 day, even at the local government or even the state, capital. They should remove that one, because network will not fail at the local government and also fail at the state capital. Because once you move along this route, the beavers will automatically, without you knowing, transmit that thing you have uploaded in it to INEC portal. So they should remove that one. There will be never a time network will fail at the local government level and also at the state level. That is one. Then on the part of the House, they should add that the polling officer, just like they maintain it, the polling officer shall, at the end of the exercise, as they put it there, transmit election result electronically to the server, and it shall be the only source of election collection and declaration of result. They must add that one. If they do not add it, they have also left a vacuum for different interpretation. Because you have just told me you have to do this. You didn't tell me, if I do this, what will it be used for? You've told us what to do, but you did not add what will it be used for. Anybody can upload and transmit electronically. What happens? You ended up not telling us what happened. What happened is that it shall be the only way for collection and declaration. They must complete the statement. That's the only problem I have with the House. Because if they leave it that way, if they leave their own that way, as an IT expert and somebody who is versed with some of these Lego jingoisms, you know what I will do? I will upload it, transmit it, and perhaps use mana collection. And if you ask me, but the law says I said I did it. I did it, but the law did not tell me what I will use it for. The law did not say which one. See, they left a lacuna there. They should conclude it by saying it shall be the only way of collation and declaration of results. So if they do that, they have completed the whole thing the way it should be.
Okay, so at this point now, it's now over to Nigerians, over to CSOs, over to opposition to take the engagement, discussion, the pressure to the harmonization committee to ensure that they do the right thing so that we can get a cleaner version of the electoral act, rather having a version that is going to leave so many loopholes and gaps to be exploited by politicians.
And then I listened to so many programs, incidentally, none of them pointed some of these things we are pointing here. None. Many were ignorant of how these things work, how BIFAS works, how laws are interpreted. They were ignorant of that essentially and substantially. Listening to many of these national televisions, some of the people that made statements for one thing, many even the anchor persons, even those who answered questions, they did not hit the hammer on the head of the nail. So they left a lot of vacuums. You know, we saw this thing, but we need to just close them up.
All right, so quickly, let's talk about Nigeria dropping 2 places to 142nd out of 182 countries in the 2025 Corruption Perception Index, whereby Nigeria scored 26 out of 100, according to Transparency International latest assessment of public sector corruption. If you compare our rating last year and now, you can see that we dropped, and people are saying that this shows that corruption is increasing in Nigeria. But for the government will tell you that they've been making an effort to fight corruption, in as much as government has not identified this as one of its key priority areas, like the predecessor, late Muhammad Buhari, identified. So, Tony, in Nigeria, are we improving in corruption fight in any way, or we are becoming more corrupt than ever as days go by? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread. For your family breakfast, Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. You get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread. Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread.
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so you are listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 10:28 a.m. My name is Franklin Lebekanda with Tony Olisambeki. We are looking at the issues that are emanated from the headlines we read this very morning. And for us to delve into this thought in before we open the phone lines. So, Tony, the issue of Transparency International rating of corruption in Nigeria, that we dipped 2 places compared to what we were 2 years ago. And I asked a question about are we making progress in our fight against corruption, or we're retrogressing? And then, what do you think is the reason that almost every year or almost every time we talk about corruption deepening the system, whereas we have anti-corruption agencies, commissions, and what have you not, all litter the country, Tony?
Well, it is a sign that we are just using powder to cover our face, or use what we call the shed toss, what Sani will tell you, to fight corruption. You are trying to be cosmetic about it. The truth remains, I've always said it, we are not serious about fighting corruption in this country. We are not serious. Corruption begets corruption. And situation where we allow those who are in power or in position of service as sacred cows, they are untouchables. You can't be saying you are fighting corruption when you have untouchables. There are those you cannot touch. Most countries I've seen fighting corruption, they start fighting corruption from the cabinet. You see members of the cabinet, ministers, or either PAM secretaries, or those who are around Mr. President, being investigated, being questioned from time to time based on contracts, based on some of the policies, based on certain things. Have we seen something like that in this country? When you have not seen something like that, it means that those who are working around Mr. President, they're untouchable. So we are fighting those who are on the other side. What does it spell? And even at that, we've seen corruption in open places. It is not something hidden. Before now, you hide certain acts, you hide a lot of things. You don't need to hide it now. What have we seen change? So the Transparency International, with their release, shows that we have also gone deep. 2 places, as you said. And you're asking me if we are fighting corruption. Look at judiciary, one of the most corrupt sector. The justice sector. And we listen to FM Onitsha, where he alleged quite a lot of things, and then what he said, many Nigerians believe in him. It's all about cash and carry justice system. It is very, very lugubrious. And once judiciary is captured, it is all over. Because that's the only place you can run to address issues of corruption. And when the referee you run to, or the arbiter you run to, for anybody who is corrupt is also corrupt, where do you run to? It is Obugo. It is finished.
Now, Tony, this corruption problem we have in the country, is it about we as people, or is it about those who have found the same privilege in society?
Well, it is a combination of everything. Even because when you don't have punishment system, if I know, even in your house, if your children look around and know that they will do this and nothing will happen, no, they will do it. And they will build themselves along that pathway. We don't even have capital punishment for corrupt people, those who embezzle public funds. Why won't we have such punishment or life imprisonment for those who steal public funds the way we have for kidnappers? What was the difference between a kidnapper who kidnapped along the road and also extract money forcefully using gun, and somebody who uses big or biro to extract public funds? Are they not the same? The only difference is that the other one did it on the road, the other one did it in the office, and we have life imprisonment for the one who did it on the road, and we have nothing more like 5 years imprisonment on 10 years for somebody who did it in the office. So they are the same thing. By the time we start fighting corruption, we have to start from judiciary. You cannot start fighting corruption if you do not start from judiciary. They are the very, very first place, because the corrupt people will be brought before them. So you have to be corrupt free for you to try somebody who is suspected to be corrupt. So that's where we have to start. So if you look around, they are having a leeway. I've seen houses built for them. I've seen quarters built for them. I've seen their salaries increase. I've seen all those things. What for? Are we also doing this for those who are in the other sectors? Yes, we respect them. It's not easy. We respect every profession. Every profession is essential. Just as we have medical profession, we have the other engineering profession, we also have nursing profession, we have every profession. Even those in agriculture. So they are essential. The key thing is, what are we doing?
Okay. So let's take the question to the audience to know what we are doing to fight
It
corruption.
will interest you to know. Let me say this before. I have been privileged to meet a retired. At that time, the person was not a retired area commander. I saw the business he was doing with the magistrate. I saw I now knew that the country is finished.
Okay, 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. If I tell the story of what a lawyer told me, how some of them do go to see judges when they have a case before them, you weep for the country, knowing that I will. Let's take some calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
This case is the commercial driver that loves listening to your program.
Okay, I hope you have turned down the volume on your radio set.
Exactly, I've done.
All right,
Done that.
go on, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah. So, in respect of this corruption matter, I see it as it's not going to work because whereby you kind of take somebody that is corrupt, you now take him to court, and now you evaluate the money that he has embezzled. Now, you give him a fine of a stipend, maybe somebody that embezzled 20 billion. They are now giving him a fine of 1 million or 2 million, or sentence him to 6 months or 3 months in prison. It doesn't vary. So I would advise that there should be a capital punishment for every person that embezzles, because it's taxpayers' money that they are embezzling. There should be a capital punishment for that.
Okay.
And secondly, in respect of this electoral transmission of results, what my able speaker, Tony Mbeki, said is very, very correct. He also said it initially when they have not changed this transmission. Just change the English, but there's a lacuna. There's a lacuna in that process, as he said. Because whenever you transmit it, and somebody has said, I didn't know it went to, I now use a manual way to transmit it. Then which one are we going to say? Since there is no law backing up that transmission. So I concur with him.
All right.
They should look into it. It seems they should continue this. We should continue this our protest so that we get to the root of everything. Let everything be clear. Let it be clear to all of us. So if I don't think they've done anything. As I speak to you now, I don't think that it still remains the same. Transmission or no transmission, without any law backing up that transmission, we are still marking time. We have not gotten to anywhere.
All right, thank you.
God bless Udala.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate your input. Thank you for calling. And I forgot to ask you that you packed before that very call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Antonio Lusambeki. My name is Mario Kifika, calling from Onitsha.
Go on, Mario.
Well, it's so disappointing what happened yesterday. It's a shame. I don't know, I'm surprised. Some people are thanking the senators and the House of Rep. And I'm asking, what really changed? What really changed? Because with what they said, it is the same thing or something as a threat. When you say that the result will be transmitted electronically, but where you say automatically you have given room for reading. Automatically, this is the same thing that happened in the 2023 election. Because I could remember they mandated an computers to transmit the result electronically and still give room for the result. You understand? But to me, so long as there is that room of if the network fails, my brother, the network will fail in Nigeria. Don't be surprised in Onitsha here. They will tell you that there is no network in Onitsha. And when you see it, you know that there is no network. Without even knowing that masks can be vandalized on that particular day. So for them to frustrate the network. So to me, leaving that room is nonsensical to me. So let Nigeria stand up. It must be a must. If it is not a must, I am not voting. Let the senators vote themselves in. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mario. Let's see who we have next here. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome on board. Your name?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tony from Becky.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
I'm Chikwado by name. I'm calling from Oboko.
Yes, go on, Chikwado.
So what I want to say is about corruption. There is nothing anybody can do in this Nigeria, and corruption will go away. There is a man that says, make a statement or a comment that everybody in Nigeria is a thief. And if you check the government very well, or the statement, the corruption came from the up. And when the water gets bent, there is nothing you can do about that. There is a man in outside country that said Nigeria is fantastic corrupt. And as I speak now, Nigeria is more than fantastic corrupt. And they can never change because their heart. I pity this country. I'm telling you the reality.
Okay.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning, Frank.
Yes, you're welcome on
Good
board.
morning, my sister.
You're welcome.
Becky.
You're welcome.
The voice of Honorable James Ebeyo. Please, don't listen, Becky. I want to ask you. I know that you are an ITC expert, but when you use the word that the Senate made mistake on what passed yesterday, I want to ask you. You think that you know ITC more than those people? They know ITC as you know it, but they know what they are doing. I said it yesterday and day before yesterday that this thing has been gazetted for 2027 election. Abadio and his colleagues, the cliques that are working with the presidency, I have said it that the presidency knows about this thing and it can never be changed because of they put that in as a cross. They know everything they did very well. All what they are saying is quite clear, and what they are saying is real, and they know about it. But because of the leaking that they are planning to do in 2027, cannot allow them to do the right thing. I'm telling you the truth. Let me tell you, the judgment that was given to Nnamdi Kanu, let me bring for you. If he wants to use it, he will release Nnamdi Kanu in a presidential pardon before 2027 election, in order for Igbo people or the Southeast Senate to see that he has done well to vote him. Quote me, and I dreamt it, and it's going to happen. So all these things that you see that is happening here, they know what they are doing. They are deceiving the people that they talk that are deceiving. So I want to call on P2B and the other well-meaning Nigerians to stand there and resist this issue. If they don't resist this issue, the election of 2027 is nonsense. I want to plead to you in the session. This is by bell for us to remind us when we go out with the electronic bell. Are going out of time, please, you ring it to notify us that our time is over. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, thank you. Okay, we appreciate. Good morning. Okay, try the studio lines 0803-221-6773, or rather, yes, 6973 or 0803-827-6694. Let me repeat the first number 0803-221-6973. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, your name?
Paul Franklin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Honorable Anthony Metesta, connecting from Onitsha.
Okay, go on.
On the incident, the hot potato that happened in the Senate. What they just did yesterday, they really disappoint me because definitely they must create a space for them to have their way. And one major and striking thing they did yesterday was the proviso that the adventure, the network fails. And frankly speaking, if we are to be realistic in Nigeria, network fails. And even if on that day it will not fail, they will engineer a failure so that we can resort to manual collision. And in that what they meant there yesterday, they have declared manual collision as the primary source of collision. So, and in adventure, if this network fails,
hello?
and as some people held opinion that
hello, hold on,
let it be
hold on.
The only source of collision, which is
hold on.
electronic. If it eventually fails, as they will even engineer should we stop cancel the election?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's make some corrections before you continue. The issue is not about manual collation or not manual collation, because what we do in the country is manual collation. What you're talking about is the result that have been the ballots have been counted at polling units. How do we transfer it or transmit it to the IREF for Nigerians to be able to see? So let's take note. It's not about what we do in Nigeria is normally is manual collation. We don't. If you don't vote electronically, you cannot collate. Tony, maybe you can help to explain to them what you mean by voting, collation, counting, and then this transmission of result to the IREF.
Yes. If it's been counted and been uploaded to the IRS, and because of the provision, when network first, and now it has shifted the discretion to the presiding officer, because it is the presiding officer now that will determine to us that there is a failure of the network. We have shifted the discretion again from the commission to the presiding officer. Now, this INET issue, look at my concern again. Nobody's talking about the onus of proof to the result. So my own concern again is the result, even if they have been declared, let the INET that declared, the percentage that declared it, let the onus to defend the result be on him. So that we don't have all this legal lockdown at the end of the day, because nobody's talking about that one now. So if the result has been declared and the presiding officer opined on him that there is a network challenge, that is why we are resorted to the provision by using manual to collect results according to how it was amended by the Senate yesterday.
Right.
So you see, we are still rigmarole round and round.
All right.
So let the honor be shifted on the presiding officer that announced the result to prove what he announced. If we don't achieve that, we will immerse ourselves in another legal lockdown. And for failure, it will fail so that it will be the primary source of collection. So I'm seeing all this as just ignoring.
All right, thank you. So Tony, let's take like 1 minute or thereabout to make this very explanation so that people will be able to understand our electoral process, how it works.
Of course, the most important thing in electoral process is collection and result declaration. Yes, I know people would like to see the results the way they are being transmitted. Why we are talking about transmission is because we know that's where fraud is committed. Before you move the result from the polling unit to the local government to the state, results are changed, swapped, mutilated, so to the point that by the time it is being announced, fake results are being announced. Now that's why people are concerned about this issue of electronic transmission. So, but people are not talking about collation and declaration of results. So we know very well that results are mainly counted, tallied, and results announced at the polling unit. Collation does not take place at the polling unit. It does not take place there. What takes place at the polling unit is counting of votes and declaration of votes so counted. Results also for the polling unit is also declared. It is not collated. Collated is when you bring other results together, put them together. Then declaration is when you announce the eventual winner. We will be concerned about bringing other results together and announcing the eventual winner. Now, situation where we are talking about, just like somebody said, at the polling unit, you are giving discretion to the polling officer to tell us, oh, no network, we have to use from EC8. No, I think Nigerians, another thing we should do for ourselves, we must mandate every polling officer to upload our result to the portal, whether network or no network, because we know uploading does not need network. What needs network is transmitting it from that IREF, from the PVAS to the portal. So you must mandate every polling officer to upload their results. It will come out there. So if they're making use of from EC8A, by the time it gets there, then there will be two results. So the one the Senate says, the one uploaded becomes the priority number one. The only other one can be resorted to if network fails and the presidential election. Let me say this thing. Presidential election takes like 2 days. If the election is conducted on Saturday, results are mostly declared on Monday or Tuesday. So you wouldn't tell me that somebody will switch off network in Nigeria for the entire 2 days or for an entire day. So they have put out this. You must also find a way to counter.
All right. So Tony, before we end this program, I'm going to read out the submission of all the CSOs who have been pushing for this very amendment to be made in a way that is going to reflect the wishes of Nigerians. And I read the version what they are pushing that the Harmonization Committee should adopt as a working provision. Let's take this some calls. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my speaker, Tony Becker.
You're welcome.
Franklin, good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome on board.
This is the voice of Honorable Grace Sokoye from Origin Kingdom, but I'm calling from Newi.
Go on, sir.
My speaker, he has said it all about corruption in this country. We have not had a government in this country that want to fight corruption to a stop. Or have to fight against corruption. He has not done. If you will any day, Nigeria will wake up and try to fight corruption the way China fought their own, corruption will stop in this country. Capital punishment. That's the whole antidote for corruption in this country. In a situation where you take about billions of naira, go to court, they swear that take, let us come to reconciliation. And you know how much you go pay back and keep the other one for yourself. Who fights corruption that way? It's not done like that. You see how the judges, what they are doing today. So the thing, only they will say God will give us a government that will fight this corruption. And fight this corruption as the way China fought their own. That day we will get our freedom of corruption. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's quickly go to our Facebook page. After reading the post we have there, if we have time, we can admit one other caller. John Ubwe says there is no alternative to a mandatory transmission of election results to the IRF. If for any reasons mandatory transmission is not feasible, then the presidential election should be postponed and a transition president appointed to run the country for a stipulated period. The transition president could be General Basanjo. Interesting. Henry Elu from Showlight says, I was part of the INEC ad hoc staff in the November 8th governorship election in Anambra State. Snapping from ECHA and uploading doesn't require any network. When you are making use of your phone camera to snap, no network is needed. It's crystal clear that these men in our Senate are scared of losing their seats come 2027. We don't have representatives. What we have, okay, is a gang of okay, understand what you wrote, but let me not use my word to call them the gang of what he said, okay? So we quite appreciate there. All right. Okay, so Dr. Misimo Lebera from Ore says, in the life of a nation, there comes crucial moment when leaders take decisive actions aimed at salvaging their people from impending doom. Nigeria needs purging, cleansing, and overhauling. Nigeria will thrive when we begin to care about who governs us, how we are governed, and hold them accountable. It will thrive when we choose them by value and question their character and pedigree. Nigerians are getting disgusted and disappointed the way things are going. We can't continue this way. Ifeanyi George Ifediora from Bright Street Main Market says our senators are not representing us at all. Whatever that will be to their own interest is what they are much interested and concerned about than the common good of the masses. How I wish, okay, they are listening to you guys. But you marvel that many of them don't listen. You marvel. Because sometimes when you talk with some of them, oh, I heard what you guys were saying. All right. So let's look at this. Komunyo KK from Mojoto says, I'm sick and tired of political issues in the country. They know the right thing to do, but they are just trying to make people to be uncomfortable. Imagine Joseph Carlo saying that there's no network in his own town. What a big lie. We saw that yesterday.
Now, that was old video anyway. It was a video during 2022. I don't know why they circulated the video.
Yeah,
it was an old video when he was saying he vote for non-electronic transmission. That was in 2022 or thereabouts.
All right. Even the what Abadibadi yesterday, people have called him, skit maker, what he did on the floor yesterday. So let's leave that for now. Uche Nano, why? Thank you for following us. I'm Kechi Kachi I thank you for also following us. And he says these people are just playing with us in this very country. Also, Francis Amagan Namani from Enugu State. Amagan says precisely. And he says only electronic transmission of results will save this country. Manual backup is a make calculated ploy to perfect rigging. Nigerians, shine your eyes. Okay, Christian Umunapwe says let Nigerians start being less dependent on our political class and start using the much we get from the political class to be independent with our creativity. He who challenges what has already been written would bear the cost of challenge. Policeman, thank you for following. And who else again do we have here? Okay, some persons posted twice, but please bear with me. If you have read one of your posts, of course, I think we have to summarize it here. So, Tony, I talked about the version of this very controversial provision on amending the electoral act as it concerns electronic voting. That all the CSOs who are involved in this push for us to have a better electoral act, they came together. In fact, yesterday, they issued their press statement and they said anything outside what is contained in this press release is not acceptable. The likes of Semeso, Yaga Africa, Kuka Center, Electa, IPCPC, many of them. Now look at what they wrote. They said, I'm going to read that particular provision the way they captured. They said, the designated election official shall electronically transmit all election results in real time, including the number of accredited voters, directly from the polling unit and collation centers to a public portal, and the transmitted result shall be used to verify any other result before it is collated.
Now, I think they may be close to what I want, but I don't think they capture the exact thing I want. But they are close. The transmitted result shall be used for collection, not to be used to verify any other results. So they are looking at it where you have any manual collation coming up. I think their own. In fact, these CSOs, they should just go and change what they did. That's not what Nigerians are clamoring for. Let me say this thing. People are talking about electronic transmission, and we end up at that transmission. The most important thing is electronic transmission and the results so electronically transmitted, used for collection and result declaration. We leave the major, the most important one. So if we try, okay, these people now, what they added up in that very press release, all the thing, okay, transmitted electronically and use it to verify the manual one. That's not what we want. That's not what we want. What we want is transmitted electronically and the so-called result that was transmitted electronically be used for collation and declaration. They are everybody's omitting that thing. I'm the only one, in fact, putting this thing. I know how this things will look like. What is the sense of transmitting results electronically and is not used for collation and then declaration of results? What's the sense? So these people, they are calling for where it to be used to compare any other result that could be brought or used for collation. You compare and contrast. No. The key thing is the result shall be transmitted electronically, mandatorily. And that result, so transmitted electronically, will be used for collation. If you don't add it, you leave it at the discretion of anybody who wants to. They say, I have transmitted electronically. That's what it says. You are seeing it. Now you start saying, oh, the result we have here is not the one we have here. No, you people have done Ojoro, you people have done Wayo. You are wasting time. Use that electronically transmitted result. Use it for collection and use it for result declaration. That's all we want.
So at this point, somebody can say, let the pressure move to the harmonization committee and see what Nigerians can get out of this.
Okay.
Whether it's going to be Mrs. Old Monkey marry Mr. Old Monkey, or it's going to be a change of the narrative.
Right.
Thank you all for listening. My name is Franklin Ebeka. Stay tuned for the continuation of the rest of our program for the day. By 11 is going to be music. At 12 news at noon, and then 12:25, 12:30 is going to be Cherry Box. Good morning. If you like gossip, of course, the King Famous made another video he posted this morning around 7 a.m. And guess what he said? They might tell you on Cherry Box. Good morning.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously.